everybody, welcome to another episode of Friends Talking Nerdy. This is Tim Jousma, and with me I've got...
Kim
The Geek! Welcome back after all this time.
Oh, I know, it's been so long. It's been a very long time, but it's also been a very long pandemic. Holy crap, it's been a long pandemic.
Yes, thankfully it does look like we see the finish line. We're not necessarily close to the finish line yet, but
You may see the finish line, but those of us who are still considered essential workers like myself, that finish line it's a ways away. It's a long ways away for me.
Yeah, I mean, I get that too, just because of how just disastrously this was handled.
Yeah.
From the outset in 2020. To be clear, if there are conservatives out there trying to, for conservatives out there, it's like, yes, if it was a Democratic president, there still would have been people that would have died. But
there would have been a lot of, regardless of who was in power, there was going to be death.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen it around the world. There's been death. And unfortunately, the United States is pretty high up there in the terms of the death toll. I read a article today, actually, about how the 500 to 600,000 that their official death count is at. Mm-hmm. It's closer to 900,000 more than likely, just because in the beginnings of the pandemic, causes of death weren't necessarily known, and there were probably a lot of people who don't have COVID as an official cause of death on their death certificates because of the fact that the testing was limited, there was no testing supplies, and we didn't know what the heck we were doing to treat it.
Well, from my understanding is that the beginning of that was comparable to what the Reagan administration did during the AIDS.
It's very comparable.
AIDS crisis.
I was a young child when the AIDS crisis happened. We were both children at the time, but I can still remember seeing news reports, and I was a very curious child. I read the newspaper on a pretty regular basis, and even if I didn't understand everything that was going on, I had a pretty good sense that there was something bad happening, and nobody was really helping.
Yeah, and... we thankfully do got Biden in office. We do see some positive changes, but it's still very much perilous because we got that 50-50 split. We got Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema, who, I hope to goodness, based on what they've done here, if Democrats that live in their districts, the next time these people are up for a vote, I hope the Democrats in those districts vote those people out, just because, with every disingenuous thing the Republicans have put forward, why do we want to keep the filibuster? When you have, because there's a difference between stating like something like Mitt Romney has said of, I disagree with these policies, but here are some counter proposals. Let's work something out, compared to Mitch McConnell and the rest of the Republican douchebags doing the whole, I'm going to fight everything they do. How is that helping anything?
Yeah. And, I never really thought that I would at some point in my life actually kind of like Mitt Romney for the fact that he's like saying the things that need to be said, like, we screwed this up, we need to do better.
Well, take a look at the Republican Party as a whole now. I mean, what the hope? My hope is that what I'm seeing right now is the start of that party tearing itself apart, because because the Liz Cheney thing. If she gets booted out of the number 3 position in the House of Representatives, I guarantee you her father is going to be making some calls and making sure some people pay. Yeah. It's because really, even though Dick Cheney is one of the people responsible for how we got into this mess today with his role as vice president, but if what we're seeing right now is the start of the Republican Party tearing itself apart, this is going to be beautiful to watch.
Yeah, but at the same time, okay, so we've got politics happening, but we've also got a separate crisis happening that I don't think a lot of people are necessarily paying attention to, because we have a lot of healthcare workers that have now died or are burned out and leaving the profession in droves. I mean, just about every place is trying to hire people to work in healthcare positions, and some of it has to do with low wages, and the wages need to be better.
Yeah.
But I think the term is brain drain when they talk about like people leaving professions for other things, and then we are going to be, I anticipate that we are going to have a serious healthcare crisis coming within the next year or two, just with a lack of people to do the jobs that need to be done to take care of people, whether it's nurses or respiratory therapists or doctors or even clerical workers, janitors, people who do the insurance billing, all of these professions. A lot of people took another look at what was going on in their work environment and the conditions that they had to perform their jobs in for the last year. And a lot of people are like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
And it's been difficult. It's been extremely stressful to work in this industry. There's been a lot of unpaid emotional labor that all healthcare workers have had to come into. And and I don't even have direct patient contact, and I've been stressed out and just burned the hell out. It's going to be a huge issue. It's going to be a huge issue going forward, and people are going to have longer waits to see doctors. There's going to be longer waits to do a lot of things, longer waits for surgeries, because we're not going to have the personnel to take care of people. And some states may be better than others in that regard, but I think a lot of it's going to come down to people going, I spent a year in hell, I'm going to reassess my life. Maybe I'll just go ahead and move to Hawaii and work there. Maybe I'll go do this. Maybe I'll go do that. There's going to be a lot of places in the country that aren't necessarily desirable to live in that are really going to have issues in terms of finding workers.
Yeah, and we're seeing that with other jobs as well.
Right now restaurants are having a hard time hiring people.
And imagine that. They don't pay shit. They
treat you like crap. Customers treat you like crap. Most of us, I think, have worked food service at least one point in our life, and it makes us better customers. But there are obviously a lot of people out there who haven't, and it shows. You can tell. There
was a Twitter thing that I saw that I posted on the Facebook group about lessons learned from this. Mm-hmm. And, the big lesson is that there are two groups of people. One, people that will help their fellow man in times of crisis. Yes. And then two, people that will not handle any sort of inconvenience whatsoever.
Yeah, that's really what it does come down to. And then there's the people who are like, oh gosh, why do I have to wear a mask now? I'm vaccinated, and then there's the people who won't even get vaccinated, and
in some ways we do got to treat this like, it's like with the flu. With the flu, we should have already been wearing masks on a regular basis.
And the flu season, I'll just go ahead and say I work in a pharmacy that serves a lot of elder care. We serve elder care communities, nursing homes, places where people who need round-the-clock care live. Mm-hmm. And flu season? What flu season? We had hardly any flu issues this year. It was crazy. Usually most flu seasons there's an outbreak at least just about every facility at least once. And so that means that we have to send out rounds of Tamiflu. Most normal folks, healthy folks, don't need Tamiflu, but when you're in a living community and everybody's really close together, the Tamiflu works as a prophylaxis if everybody around you has the flu so that you don't get it too. And if you are old and have lots of health conditions, getting the flu can kill you. And that's why we get flu vaccines, so that we don't spread it around. But everybody was wearing masks this year all the time. No flu season. And I'm just like, I think that in the future, I will be wearing a mask all next winter, regardless of if there's a pandemic or not. I am just going to wear that mask because I didn't get sick this winter. I usually get at least one episode of bronchitis or a really terrible sinus infection, and that did not happen this year. That's probably because I was wearing a mask and then I wasn't going anywhere. when I wasn't at work.
And after my very last bout of retail this past year, it's like seeing what little Best Buy did as a corporation, and they are not the only ones that are guilty of this, but seeing how absolutely little they put into not only protecting their employees, but protecting their customers from all this, it's just like, you'd be foolish not to wear a mask going forward. You really are foolish not to wear a mask, and it's just habit now. It doesn't even really bother me. I only get bothered if I notice I have a pimple from having to wear a mask at work for 10 to 12 hours at a time. Yeah. Well, I mean, sporting a Van Dyke now, I mean, that's like... that hides all the mask knee. All the mask knee will be hidden with that. Well, that'll be good. Well, yeah, but still having it on, though, the bottom part of the Van Dyke will pop out, and, it kind of... If I haven't used the beard balm or the beard oil, then, the itching. Yeah. Even got a boar's head brush. Yeah, the professor bought the kids. So. Dang, you're stepping up in the world. Well, I didn't realize how important that was. I mean, because in the past I've had the Van Dykes, but then after a month or so, it would be just shave it all off. Yeah, because that would usually be the time where it started itching. But now that I've been a little religious with the beard balm and the oil and the brushing it itself it was the big thing in terms of cutting down the itchiness. And you proved the fact you can teach an old dog new tricks. Yeah. You can teach men grooming tips. It's amazing. It can happen. Yeah, but... Yeah, there's some... we're going to talk about beards for a moment. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, I have seen some of my friends out there have grown some COVID beards that they should not be leaving the house with those beards. Holy shit, people. Do you not have a pair of scissors and a mirror? I mean, I understand it can be tricky, but I mean, I'm seeing these mustaches are curling down over the lips, and the beards are just stringy and gross on the bottom. It's even it up, trim it up, tidy it up. And I have heard complaints from some of my male friends who are sporting these beards. Uh-huh. Why isn't my lady into me? You look homeless. Yeah. It's rotate the sweatpants, shower more, and tidy the beard. All I gotta say. Yeah, But anyway, but yeah, obviously, so with the past year, I mean, we've talked about it on the show the last time you were on with the pandemic, and I have kept people up to date about what has been going on with you on the show as well. Yeah, it's been a very difficult year. I spend a lot of time talking to people every day on the phone at work, and as a result, I just did not want to talk when I wasn't at work. I'm just basically, if I'm not at work, I don't want to listen to people talk. Mm-hmm. I can't concentrate on movies very much anymore, so I've been watching a lot of sitcoms. I can't even deal with long books right now. I've been reading collections of short stories. Nothing wrong with that. So, doing a podcast on, yeah, but, I'm vaccinated now. The sun is out. Things are starting to look up. And you have a cat. And I have a cat. Now, yes. When you got Liz, we did, the Reverend Tracy and I did discuss you getting Liz and whatnot and some of the stories there. But let's hear it directly from you. Tell everybody about Liz. Yeah. Well, Peach, my first cat, not my first cat. She passed in December. She ended up having lung and oral cancer. And so after a couple months, I was just like, this house is empty. I need a companion. Mm-hmm. And so these days, if you want to adopt an animal, if you've been on a dating app, it's a lot like going on a dating app if you want to adopt a pet, because you can't go to the shelter because it's closed to visitors. Oh. And so you're flipping through the pictures and you're like, ooh, she's cute. I wonder how old she is, Swipe. And basically, it's like you look and you're like, oh, that one's cute. Oh, ooh, he's handsome. Oh, what a cute little boy, And that's me looking at cats on websites. I talk to the cats even though they don't talk back because
you know.
Because they're pictures.
Yeah. Because they're pictures and because I'm a weirdo. But yeah, so I went to the Southwest Washington Humane Society website and I saw Liz and I was just like, oh, she's so cute. She's so cute. And I saw that she was older and her owner had passed away and she wasn't getting along with the resident cats. The person who passed away, their grandkid was taking care of the cat and she wasn't getting along with the resident cats, but she was a sweet cat. And I was like, oh, just look at that face. And I just looked at her face and, you know, it's just like on the dating app. You see, there's a picture you see and you're just like, your heart goes ka-chunk and you're like, ooh, I think I like that one. And so you swipe right and you see if it's a connection. And so basically you make a donation to the Humane Society and they check you out and stuff. And then you arrange an appointment and you go and you pick them up. And you don't meet them. You just pick them up. But this is with cats. With dogs, if you're adopting in a pandemic, if you have a dog, they want you to bring the dog to the shelter, and that's allowed because they want the dogs to meet and everything. But with a cat, they're like, well, if it doesn't work out, just let us know and you can bring her back. And I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, with you know, having only one cat, in this case Liz, obviously does not matter in terms of how they interact with other people. Matter. But if if the professor and I ended up getting another cat here, doing it that method might not be the best.
No, probably not. But I mean, and they were all concerned that she was going to be shy and she might hide for a few days, and I'm just like, okay. So here's the funny part. I get in the car with the cat. They give you a cardboard carrier because they don't want you to bring in your plastic carriers. They give you a disposable carrier. Mm-hmm. So I pick up Liz at the shelter and I put her in the car on the floor in the front seat area, and then I get in the car and she immediately starts meow and singing the song of her people is what a friend of mine calls it. And then I see a little paw come out of the hole. And I'm just like, oh, well, that's the first I've seen of my cat. I hadn't even looked inside the carrier. This is the first I'm seeing my cat. And then I see her little teeth and her little nose come up to the hole. And then she starts tearing at the cardboard. It takes about 20 minutes to get from the shelter to my house. Within 10 minutes, she had hulked her way out of the carrier and was sitting in the front seat of the car. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, you're really cute. You're really, really cute. And please don't run underneath my feet while I'm driving on the freeway, because I was on the highway and I'm just like, I better get off the highway. So I got off the highway and she was sitting in the front seat, just looking out the window, trying to climb up on the dashboard. But then I get to my house and I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to have to carry her into the house because I can't put her back in the carrier. She hulked her way out of it. She literally ripped a hole in the side of the carrier, squeezed her little head out, and then squeezed the rest of her out behind it. It was crazy. I've never had a cat do that to a cardboard carrier, ever. And I've used them a lot.
First time for everything.
Yeah, no kidding. But anyway, she settled right in like a champ. She has a little bed on my desk, so she sits up there while I play video games. And she likes to perch on the chair behind me or climb up on my shoulder while I'm doing stuff at my computer. And she snuggles with me at night, and she's just the sweetest little thing. And she settled like right in within the first night. She was like climbing into the bed, like, what are you doing? Oh, it's warm in here. Oh, it's really warm in here. I want to get she'll get under the covers and snuggle with me. Or she likes to perch on me and sleep on me while I'm sleeping. So usually I'll wake up and she likes to drape herself across my neck if I'm laying on my back. I'm just like, why do I feel like I'm choking? Oh, thanks, Liz. And Liz is the name that she had previously. I don't generally change a cat's name unless they were a stray, because she knows her name. She comes to it.
Well, I mean, I've never had a cat that really answered to their name ever. I mean,
my cats have answered to their name. Well, Boris did before he went deaf. Boris always answered to his name.
Yeah, I mean, Phil, he, the name he had on the shelter was Jared, and I just thought that was a stupid name for a cat.
So, I mean, when they're a stray and they just give them a name, sometimes they get used to it if they've been in the shelter for a while. But if they're an owner surrender and they have a name that they respond to, just stick with the name. It makes it much easier and less stressful for the cat.
Yeah, well, I mean, but as you know with Phil, I mean, he adapted pretty easy, you know.
Yeah. Phil's an easygoing guy.
Yeah.
He just likes to be with you and be petted and snuggled
and also get soft food. Yeah, we switched to start giving him soft food again because I was concerned. Like with his age, he's like 14 now, and you know, when you're that old and you're a cat, sometimes dental health
it's an issue. It's usually an issue once you get to a certain point with cats, and plus. Male cats in particular can develop crystals in their urine, and so you really, especially as they get older, and if a male cat has a crystal and it gets stuck in their urethra, it can cause a life-threatening infection. I mean, they can be dead within days. Oh. So you really have to make sure that they're drinking plenty of water. You got to make sure they always have fresh water, and feeding them wet food. It adds moisture to their diet. It's a good thing. And Liz has very beginnings of possible kidney issues, which is also common in older cats. Mm-hmm. So I've been feeding her wet food to keep her hydrated, which is good for your kidneys, obviously. You stay hydrated. It's good for humans. It's good for cats. But yeah, she gets this wellness gravy food. This cat is apeshit for gravy. She just goes bananas when I open the can. She's like murr, 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 just making these little noises and dancing around. And I put it down. I'll like stand there with the bowl and look at her, and I'm like, "Do you want some food?" And she's like, "Meow." She's normally a very quiet, laid back cat, but you get that gravy food in front of her. Oh my God, she just dives right in.
It reminds me of when I started doing the soft food here. Because I was concerned for Phil, so I would feed him first. But then, you know Phil, I mean, when he was like hungry, oh my God, I've never eaten for years.
I've never eaten, never.
Yeah. Ever. The funny thing though is that he's eating. Sherman, you know, it's like, he hears the can being open. He knows what that means. He came running as well. And he just sat there and looked at Phil eating. Just looked at him, and then tapped him on the head. It wasn't a swat. It was just a tap on the head with his paws. Like, are you done? Can I have my turn?
Like a tag team thing?
Something like that. I mean...
Tag me in, man. Tag me in.
Because, I mean, at first I thought it was going to be... Because, like, they're cats. I wouldn't have been upset or anything. Because, like, if Sherman, for instance, was, like taking a real swing at him or hissing at him...
or sneaking up on him and pouncing. Things like that. That's no good. You don't want behavior issues around the food.
Yeah. So and also, Phil does have. I think he remembers Peach. So
Peach didn't like Phil. She did not like
Phil.
Oh
no. I'm not gonna say that. I think she didn't like when Phil wanted to be close to her, but there were times to where they would sleep together in a bed, close to each other.
Yeah, that's true.
It was like her reaction with me. It's just like she wanted to have a relationship on her terms and her terms only. If you tried to do anything beyond that, she'd let you know you were wrong.
And I have scars to prove it. I mean, I loved Peach very much, but boy, she was definitely a difficult cat, and she wasn't always very affectionate. And Liz is definitely not like her. Liz is much more. She's much more come to you and want to be petted, and just will want to be petted and want to be petted and want to be petted, and just basically you have to stop because she will just. She likes to be brushed. She likes it when I brush her, and that was not Peach.
Yeah, no, but that's the thing too with Peach. I mean, Peach was, as you said, someone who, before she met you, didn't have the best of life. So it's like a cat is only going to be able to comprehend so much just because they're a cat. So they're going to do what they can to protect, and honestly. I felt she was a very loving cat in a lot of ways. It's just she was just scared of being hurt.
She was. You could tell she had trauma at some point in her life. But, the years that I did have her, I got her in 2016 and she passed. So I had her for 4 years. Mm-hmm. And those 4 years, I think I did right by her.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, heck, even after 6 months, I was able to get some pets out of her.
Yeah, it's just, it had to be on her terms, and
Yeah.
she would react violently sometimes, which was not pleasant. She sent me to urgent care with a really bad cut on my hand.
Ooh.
Yeah, one time I had to get a tetanus shot, and they were like, "Has she been vaccinated for rabies?" I'm like, "Yes, I don't need rabies shots." Rabies shots. That's like 30 days of shots.
Well, didn't they change that? I thought they had like new treatment that didn't have to do like multiple shots in the belly.
I haven't heard of it, and but I don't study veterinary medicine at all. So
Yeah.
I mean, if my pharmacy did veterinary medicine, I'm sure I would know all that stuff. But no, I know about vaccine protocols. I know how to reconstitute a vial of ceftriaxone.
So has your tracker kicked in yet? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, my 4Gs. Oh, whoa.
There's a podcast called Knowledge Fight that the host are two comedians, but they listen to each and every episode of InfoWars from Alex Jones.
How?
They have the mental. I mean,
no. There's just no way.
But what they do is kind of when Alex says some bullshit, they come back with the facts, and just hearing hearing some of the stuff that Alex Jones says is just like, why do people believe him?
Yeah, I know. During the whole Trump presidency, the Washington Post website had a truth tracker basically, and they were basically every single day they were like, here's what he said today. Here's where the lies are. And he has, I think they were like, yeah, he's uttered the most falsehoods of any president ever. And we're like, duh. So.
Yeah. And I don't know, the less we can say about 45, the better. And hopefully with Giuliani being raided, hopefully, because it's like,
yeah, there's a lot of shit going down right now.
It's like Giuliani being raided like that. I mean, come on. There's no way he's going to be like in prison keeping his silence. He's going to sing He's going to sing
a lot of songs. They're going to sing a lot of songs.
And then we're going to hear some more rationalization that, Rudy was never trusted in the first place. Rudy was bad. And just the excuses that these people have. But just it's hopefully we can do enough that 2022 doesn't just immediately give us a instant reversal with Republicans back in control, because if that's the case, then at that point I would be all for the Democratic Party tearing themselves apart, because neoliberalism as it has been going since 1992 with Bill Clinton no longer works. It no longer works.
It's not working too well for most of us.
Yeah.
There's some people who are benefiting, but most of us, we're just kind of scraping by. And
I mean, neoliberal is Republican light. That's all it is. And to be clear, Republicans from the 90s, what they fought for, they weren't the evil mustache twirlers that you see in office today.
Yeah, there was a lot more moderates just in general on both sides of the aisle. It was a lot of people who were kind of in the middle, and I think for the most part, our nation is pretty much in the middle. There's a lot of people who have hot button issues, but for the most part, we just want to be taxed reasonably and maybe have better health care that doesn't cost as much and suck as much.
Yeah.
And, police, fire, all that good stuff that we need to keep things going. I mean, that's what my taxes pay for. That's how I see it, at least. But then we all get stuck on these issues of, a lot of things that are technically, like abortion. As an example, we are still stuck on this question. It's a medical issue. It's not something we need to be legislating. It's a medical issue.
Yeah, it's a wedge issue. Unfortunately,
it is.
And that is not to say that the issue itself isn't important. That's not to say that, you know, people shouldn't have discussions, blah, blah, blah. But in the grand scheme of things, this issue and this issue, I remember back in the days in Grand Rapids when I went to church, hearing multiple people in the churches that I went to, you know, proclaim that, how could you vote for a Democrat? They support abortion. And yet the Republicans, like, sure, the Republicans call for a right to life. They support, you know, abortion restrictions and all that. But if the rest of their policies are putting women in a situation where they have to consider abortions in the first place, don't you think that is something you'd want to attack as well?
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to attack abortion, you're just basically attacking healthcare in general.
They're attacking women. They
are attacking women, and it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Abortion is an issue between a patient and a doctor. It's not. If you don't want to have an abortion, then you should have access to reproductive care, so that you don't have to get an abortion. Yeah. And they've shown in study after study after study in states where access to birth control and other forms of, women's health care, when that's available, people don't get abortions. Amazing. It's like, wow, yeah. I can get an IUD and for 5 years I don't have to think about my birth control. Great. A lot of women do that. I don't. A lot of women do that. Or you can get implants, you can get shots, you can take the pill, you can get your tubes tied, all of that stuff. And the more that we provide that kind of care, the less that we have to talk about abortion.
And not this mythical, because the conservatives honestly think that people should only have sex to procreate. Which, no, people
don't do that. That's
never been realistic.
That's never been realistic. No, I mean, because most people who are having sex are not procreating. They're doing it for fun. They're doing it for pleasure. They're doing it to cement a romantic relationship. They're doing it for a number of reasons, and it's very rare that it's actually to make babies.
And what about two married people two young people who, let's say, didn't graduate college, got a high school degree, didn't graduate college, but they're married? Are they, they're not in a spot to where they can earn a bunch of money, but you're going to tell them they can't have kids? It's like, basically, according to their logic, you can only have kids if you have plenty of disposable money.
Pretty much.
Which again is how is that realistic?
And who has disposable money these days, really? I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
But one thing I'm excited for is that it does look like that we are slowly opening movie theaters back up.
Yeah. I tell you though, if I'm going to go to a movie theater anytime soon, I'm wearing a mask through that whole movie. I'm wearing a mask, and I'm probably not going to eat or drink during that movie. I'm just going to wear a mask and pray that everybody around me has gotten their vaccine. I've gotten my vaccine. I've had both shots. What about you?
I've had one shot. This coming Wednesday, I'm going to have shot number 2.
Make sure you have a lot of time planned to rest.
Yeah.
Because I know myself, my first shot, it was my arm hurt and I had a bit of a headache and I was a little tired. No big deal. Second shot, I slept so much, 3 days. I was sleeping a lot, and I felt like I was coming down with a cold, and that's what I do when I come down with a cold. I sleep.
Well, me, I had 1 day of that body soreness that you get when you're just getting the flu or something like that. And because the day before I'd hung out with Karen, our mutual friend, and had a twisted iced tea, and I thought, could it have been that? No, it couldn't have been that. I mean, that barely has any alcohol in it. That barely has any tea in it. Who knows what the hell was in there? But that couldn't have done that. But So I don't know what to expect with the next shot, but I'm gonna get it, and I'm going to be able after that to be able to be out in the world some more. One thing I did notice, Movie Madness opened up a thing to where they had a private little movie theater in their store.
Oh, really?
That you can actually rent out for if you're a non-member, $200, and just choose whatever movie you want, and they put it up on the big screen in their place.
Huh.
Yes.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, so I figured if, come my birthday, maybe I'll do something there, get like Superman on the big screen.
That's
That'd be
what,
cool
that's
to see.
September.
Yeah.
So, we got time.
Yeah. And, but I just, it's just, for a while though, like, there won't be many movies to watch in the movie theater because they're not taking chances, at least until July. Black Widow.
Oh, that'll be good. Yeah, the last movie saw in the theater, I think, was when we went and saw Knives Out. And that was in March of last year? February of last year?
That was around
February of last year.
I think it was like the week before we saw NXT, or like the week after in February.
Yeah, it was, and then everything just...
Yeah. So, I don't want Knives Out to be my last movie theater. That is not to knock the movie. The movie was good.
That was a good movie.
I mean, the natural critic in me, there were some parts that just like...
Well, there's some parts where you're just like, okay, right. But, it was one of those, like, kind of whodunit, who did what.
Did you hear the news about that movie, though?
Well, what about it?
Knives Out Part 2 and 3 have been signed and will come to Netflix.
Okay.
Rian Johnson will again be writing and directing, and they're going to get some of the cast back, including Daniel Craig.
Well, that's good. I mean, more Daniel Craig is always good. But, I just... As much as I did like that movie, I don't like unnecessary sequels. It's just...
Well,
come up with something different. I mean, I don't need to see...
Well, I mean, Rian Johnson is a good enough is a good writer and a good director. Even though The Last Jedi had its problems,
all of the more recent Star Wars movies have had their problems.
Well, true, yeah, but they're not Attack of the Clones either. Let's be honest.
That is true. They aren't Attack of the Clones, but
I mean, even Episode 9, Rise of Skywalker, which I thought was horrendous in a lot of ways, still had a lot of good moments too.
Yeah, I don't know. I think of all of the newer Star Wars movies that have come out, I think Rogue One was my favorite.
I only like the last 10 minutes. And you know what I mean, the Vader scene.
I know what you mean, yeah. But, no, I think that one was my favorite just because I really knew, like, the timeline and the setting and all of that. And the newer ones, I'm just kind of like... I think it's some of my disappointment with the newer ones is the fact that Adam Driver kind of bothers me. There's something... I think it's because I watched that series Girls. I don't know if you've ever watched that series.
No.
Yeah, you don't want to. I don't know why I did. I think I went through a masochistic period where I was just like, I want to see what all the hubbub's about. And I saw a couple episodes. I'm like, this is stupid and terrible. Why am I still watching it? Why am I still watching it? Why am I still watching it? He's like, quit slapping yourself. Quit hitting yourself. One of those kind of situations.
Yeah.
But so Adam Driver was one of the main male characters in that show. And my God, he plays this guy who... He's a creep and he's weird, and it reminded me of a guy I dated, and I'm just like, no, when you start reminding me of people that I know in real life.
Yeah, no. With Rogue One though, I keep up with Hollywood news, and I'd heard about how troubled that production was.
Yeah,
and how they ended up having to like do some massive. I mean, like all Hollywood movies have reshoots, so the fact that they did a reshoot isn't the problem, but they ended up doing so much that it ended up changing the story. There were even like shots in the trailer that didn't appear in the film, which
really
like the big thing of the female lead in the film. I forgot her name, but she was like on an outside on like a big walk trellis thing, and then you saw a TIE fighter like rise up. That was a cool badass shot. Wasn't in the movie.
Oh, you're right. That wasn't in the movie because I've seen the movie a few times now because I really like what's her name? Felicity Huff? No, it's not Huff. It's Felicity Jones.
Let's go
to IMDb.
Yes.
Oh, who can do it faster? Oh, let's see. I'm not on the Wi-Fi. Oh, no fair. Tim has the Wi-Fi advantage.
Felicity Jones,
you were right.
Yes.
I like her as an actress. I think she's quite good and she's very cute. And so...
Well, that's good. That's all we need.
That's all we need, yeah. No, I like strong female characters. You know this. And she was a very strong female character. And it had Mads Mikkelsen, too. He's like the epitome of ugly sexy for me. You know what I mean, though? Do you know what I mean by ugly sexy?
Define ugly sexy.
There are some guys that just aren't very conventionally attractive, but there's just something about them that makes them really sexy. And he's one of them.
Mickey Rourke?
No, not Mickey Rourke. Well, before he had surgery. Gordon Ramsay, he qualifies as ugly sexy. And Benicio del Toro. He qualifies as ugly sexy, in my opinion.
Okay. What did you think of The Mandalorian?
I really enjoyed The Mandalorian.
Did you? And you watched?
I watched both seasons.
Okay, and we will talk about spoilers then. I saw the last episode of the season when it first came out, and I was in bed watching it. And then the scene where the X-wing flies by. When that first happened, I didn't put two and two together because I didn't honestly think they would go the route that they did. And then, but it was like a throwaway comment, I think, from like the Cara Dune character, like one X-wing, whoop-de-doo, and then, it's just like, no, they're not. It's going to be somebody else. It's going to be somebody else. And then Luke freaking Skywalker shows up. I mean, thanks to computer generation, of course, but it was Mark Hamill's voice that they used. One of the actresses who played one of the Mandalorians was Sasha Banks from the WWE.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
It's a shame that Cara Dune, that actress, boy, she's an asshole.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about her comments on the show here before.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she was developing into my next action hero, lady crush. Because eventually I might have to replace Xena in my heart. And I was like looking at her going, yeah. And I'd like to climb that tree.
It's sad too because, I don't think she was ever going to be like God's gift to acting or anything that. No, but for roles like that,
for that role, she was perfect for it. She had the musculature. She had the right sort of demeanor, and I was looking up merch. I was going to order myself a Cara Dune Star Wars T-shirt, and then all that stuff came out. And I'm like, remove from cart.
Yeah, and the problem is that it escalated. Like when it first started, she did the beep bop boop thing for her quote unquote pronouns, which with the explanation that she gave, I kind of saw her point. I was willing to give her the benefit of the doubt there, but it just kept getting worse. She just
doubled down on being an asshole.
I mean, at the end of the day, comparing conservatives in this country to Jews during World War II. No.
Yeah, and WTAF,
I've said it on the show and I'll say it again. I hope there comes a day to where, because right now in her position, she put her foot in her mouth, and pride being what it is, I can understand why she's reacting the way she did in terms of blaming other folks. But I hope there comes a day to where she can take a deep breath and say, maybe I shouldn't have escalated. Maybe I took things a little too further because, think about it. Like if you wrote a tweet like that and it gained viral attention and it came to the attention of your employer and people found out where you worked, you wouldn't keep your job.
No. They would be more than happy to drop me.
Yeah, and that's...
Even though we're short-staffed, I think they would still just be like, oh, no, not Kim's a liability.
No.
She's a wild card.
No, what they would probably say is she's been here for a while. We can cut her and get somebody in for half the income.
Yeah, that's true. I have been there a while, so yeah, they could get somebody and get a brand new tech right out of school. Probably who wouldn't have caught an error the other night and probably saved the lives of several patients, which is what happened the other night. So
saving lives,
taking names.
But
don't share insulin pens, people. Don't share insulin pens.
Okay.
Safety tip.
Yeah, just with her, I just felt bad because I hope Because, like, you got to remember, she was one of the antagonists in Deadpool as well.
Oh, that's right, she was, wasn't she?
In the first Deadpool. And with Deadpool coming to the MCU, they could have easily brought her back for that. She lost out on a Star Wars show of her own.
I know, and you know what's sad? Is I can't even remember her real name. I'm just thinking of her as...
Gina Carano.
Oh, okay, that is Gina something.
Yeah.
Cara Dune, you asshole.
It's like, I'm not going to be the type, though, that will go online and continue with the piling on. You know, because I don't agree with folks, you know, in our line of thinking that you know, do agree with us that she said some really stupid things, but treating it as if she should never work again, as if she should be publicly shamed for the rest of her life. And it's just like, people are taking that too far.
Okay, so in some cases, I do agree with people who should be sort of publicly shamed and never work again. Mm-hmm. One recent example would be Josh Duggar. I don't know if you are familiar with the Duggar family.
Yeah.
And their stupid show about how many kids you can squirt out of a vagina. And, yeah, pretty much. It's not a clown car, people.
And near the end, the kids just walk out, you know.
Yeah.
I'm putting on my top. Hello, my baby.
I was going to say. So, yeah, he's like been all, I'm a conservative and da-da-da-da, but he's into child porn and molesting people. So, yeah, he should not ever work again. He should be in prison for the rest of his life. Honestly.
And I'm not disagreeing with that at all. You know, same thing with Bill Cosby, same thing, you know, that should have happened with Woody Allen. And, you know, but, you know, when it comes to somebody simply running their mouth, it's like, should there be...
If you're not, like, actually doing shitty things, you're just saying shitty things. I mean, yeah, if you... But the thing is she would have to, like, honestly apologize. And I don't see that happening anytime soon. It's just like J.K. Rowling and all the crap that she was saying about how trans women aren't women, stuff like that. Yeah. Well, I'm not consuming any Harry Potter things anymore.
Yeah. Well, and John Cleese got pulled into that, but he got in trouble just simply because from what I heard directly from him was, I don't know enough about the trans issue to speak on it, so I'm not going to speak on it.
But then he went out and said that he supported J.K. Rowling.
Again, it's...
And then I'm just like, I don't know. I mean, I understand that a lot of things regarding, like, trans issues are difficult for a lot of people to understand, but that's probably because they don't actually know anybody who's trans. Or
they do, but they don't. You know, it's like there was a line in Big Mouth when one of the characters, Andrew, thought he could be gay, and he goes to one of the gay kids, and you know, he said, you know, I don't know any gay people, and he goes, you do, but you don't. They just haven't told you yet.
Yeah, and they probably haven't told you because you've been acting like an asshole.
Yeah,
and they don't feel safe around you.
Putting your foot in your mouth, like. You know, I think back to like the Apu thing.
Oh, gosh.
You know, and...
Well, at least he came out and said, I am so sorry, and I've done all this research, and...
Well, yeah, and he did good. I mean, but even he, though, had a point when it first started becoming an issue to where he got defensive. You know, but Hank Azaria did the right thing, took a deep breath, talked to people, listened to people, and then made the right decision from there.
There's the key right there. Listening to people. Rather than just running your mouth and doubling down like Gina What's-Her-Face did. Yeah. You should stop, go, okay, maybe I don't know the whole thing. Maybe I don't know the whole story. Maybe I need to learn something. And I think that that's kind of what life is you grow and you learn and you meet new people and I mean, I have friends who are trans. Mm-hmm. I know people who are trans. So trans rights are important to me, and I support a lot of it comes down to, you know, does somebody wanting to change their gender really affect you?
It doesn't.
Personally? And it doesn't. Unless it's your partner. It does. Why do you care if, like, Joe down the street wants to be Joanna?
and the arguments that you hear about, how many, even South Park did something about this of you have all these bad faith arguments of what about these people that become trans and then go into women's sports, and it's just like, do you? Because South Park had a thing to where they had a guy say that he was a woman, but just say he was a woman, and he looked like the Macho Man, Randy Savage, and still had the mustache and beard and everything. And that's not how it works. If you actually knew what the process was to transition, I think you need at minimum a year of therapy before you even get to see a doctor.
Well, you have to. There's a multi-step process, and a lot of it involves therapy, involves taking hormones and making conscious choices if you're going to change your name, if you're going to change your birth certificate, if you're going to have surgery. Mm-hmm. And everybody progresses through this process in their own speed. There's no. It's not like if I say, okay, I think I'm a man, and I'm going to go to the doctor, and they're going to give me testosterone. No, that's not how it's going to work. It's a multi-layered process. There's a lot of therapy and thought and care that goes into it. And if anybody has actually known somebody who's been going through this process, or is willing to share with them about what it's like, I mean,
and two, it's like just people need to just think. They need to ask questions. They need to find out what it takes to transition before they start making all these determinations about who can be in sports and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's trans rights are human rights.
Trans rights are human rights is what it comes down to, and it's up to each individual person to just determine how they feel and what their gender identity is. I mean, for a lot of us, we're men, we're women, and that's just the way we were born, and that's how we feel. Mm-hmm. But even when you're a woman, there's a lot of different ways you can be a woman. I mean, there's women who are very motherly, and they want to have children, and they want to have families, and there's women who don't, and there's women who want to be in sports, and there's women who want to, go out and fight fires, and there's women who just want to sit on the couch and play video games. There's all kinds of different types of ways to be a woman. Mm-hmm. That doesn't make you any less of a woman. Everybody is their own person, is what it comes down to.
Yeah, but back to the movies. So, did you see that recent Marvel?
The movie? Yeah, we're just like tangent.
Yeah, on this show now.
Squirrel.
That did happen the other day.
Yeah, there was a squirrel just outside earlier too.
Yeah, like a couple of episodes ago, we were talking. I was like, squirrel, But did you see the new Marvel Studios trailer?
No, I have kind of been avoiding a lot of that stuff just because I don't want to get excited for something and then have it not happen. But also because I also don't want to get super excited about going to the movies and then have it not happen.
Well, they're at the very least, the reason they did this is that come July, even though Black Widow is going to be in theaters, mm-hmm. it will have a limited time on the Disney Plus premium access. Mm-hmm. So if you were not comfortable going to the theaters, you'd actually be able to pay and watch it at home. And then later this year,
that's not the same. It's like some of these big sort of action-y movies. I just don't want to watch them on a TV or a computer monitor or a phone or
that's
whatever.
The beauty of the trailer, though, because the trailer actually has had fan footage of the portal scene of what the audience reaction was opening night to Avengers Endgame, mm-hmm. with the audience freaking out. And I mean, to your point, you would be missing out on that, because if the very first exposure I had to Avengers Endgame was watching it on TV, I probably wouldn't have wept like a baby.
Yeah, it's not. It's just not the same. There's just certain movies you really do need to see in a theater.
You need to see it with a group of like-minded people.
That's what it comes down to. I mean, if say you were able to watch it at home, if you had a bunch of friends over who were just as excited, mm-hmm. then that would probably be pretty fun.
I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna enjoy it no matter what. But it's it would be nice to be able to see it in the theater. But they are also teasing some other stuff for Phase 4. including Fantastic Four.
I don't really like the Fantastic Four, personally. I'm just not a big fan of the Fantastic Four in general. I think they're kind of boring.
Well,
I don't think they're very fantastic.
But they haven't been really given any sort of a decent big screen exposure.
That's
They've
true,
had
but
some,
I don't even like the comics that much.
That's okay. I mean, I didn't like the Thor comics, but, I've loved what they did with Thor in the movies. Same with Captain America.
Now, I want to see more Doctor Strange.
That's
And
coming
I'm
up.
excited for the new, what's it called? The I don't want to say it like this, but the Kung Fu movie, the Marvel
Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, I think it is.
Something like that, yeah, because the actor who's playing the lead character, I'm not sure if I'm saying his name right, Simu Liu?
I believe so, yeah.
Anyway, he is on the Canadian sitcom Kim's Convenience, which is actually pretty funny. I like that show a lot. And he's very, very good looking. He is, he's very good looking, and I'm excited to see that one.
Yeah, they had some footage in that trailer. They showed some footage of the Eternals. It was Salma Hayek and Angelina Jolie.
Oh.
And they also teased some other stuff, like what I'm really, really looking forward to at the end of the year, Spider-Man Far From Home, because the multiverse will have exploded because it's an open secret. I mean, this is stuff they've already announced. Alfred Molina, who played Doc Ock in Spider-Man 2, is coming back as Doc Ock in Spider-Man Far From Home.
Okay.
It's a multiverse. And they got Jamie Foxx, who played Electro in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. He's coming back. And word is that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are also both coming back.
Oh my gosh! So are they going to have Spider-Gwen and the multiverse, the animated movie that we saw?
Miles Morales. I mean, it would be stupid not to.
What about Spider-Gwen, and then there was like the spider Pokemon kind of.
Yeah, I forgot that character name. Spider-Ham.
and then the Spider Pig, and then
Spider-Man Noir.
Yeah, Spider-Man Noir. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
I would like to see that.
Well, I'm glad that they're doing that. I mean, DC is sort of doing that, but they're doing it the lazy way, because it's like they put all their cards into the Zack Snyder basket, and then that blew up in their face. And
those movies were just so joyless.
Well,
I mean, a lot of people like them, but I'm just like,
when you suck at the teat of Ayn Rand like Zack Snyder did.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. I mean, if you're gonna go the Ayn Rand route,
I mean, he didn't understand. It's like the reason I don't like those movies is that he wasn't giving us a DC movie. What we saw was not Superman. We didn't. The Batman, like brutally murdering people after people.
Yeah, I mean, I like the DC universe well enough, but God, those movies were just like, it was, if I want to sit in a tub in the dark and slit my wrists, I'll go do that. I don't need to go to the movie theater and pay $16 to have it done to me.
You are lucky you didn't sit through Zack Snyder's Justice League.
No. Well, I saw Justice League, but I didn't see that special cut or whatever.
Yeah, no,
everybody I know, a lot of people I know were talking about it like, I'm just like, no, thank you.
I'll put it this way. First of all, over 4 hours.
Over 4 hours?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck that noise. I got better things to do with 4 hours. I mean, I could play ESO and have a pizza and masturbate in 4 hours, and I'd have a lot more fun doing that.
Yeah. So. And there would be a happy ending too.
Yeah, exactly.
But when I watched it though, I was watching it, and I thought I can't sit through all of this. I hit pause, and I thought I had been through at least half the film. It barely was the hour mark.
Oh God! So did you watch the whole thing?
I did, and to be fair, because the one thing I don't like about the people online when they talk about stuff, it's like a movie is either the greatest thing in the world or it's absolute garbage. Most movies are somewhere in between.
Yeah, most movies are almost all movies. Let's just say almost all movies rather than most movies. Almost all movies are somewhere in between, and a good movie has its ebbs and flows too. It goes up and it's like, oh, and then it comes down, and you're like, oh, I'm sad, and oh, I'm happy again.
I mean, it had some good elements. Like, the big thing I liked was that we finally saw the character Darkseid in a live-action film.
That's cool.
You know, because in the Super Friends TV show, Darkseid was like the big bad villain of like the past couple seasons, and he was voiced by Frank Welker, who used that voice for Claw on Inspector Gadget.
Oh, so many things are making more sense now.
Yeah, so
why I would watch Inspector Gadget and go, why is this familiar?
Yep, so that was Frank Welker, but it was cool seeing him, but it was still, he really wasn't the main villain. It's the big thing that I really, really hated about the Zack Snyder Justice League cut was that he was still trying to set up future movies that nobody's going to see. You know, Warner Brothers and DC aren't going to make those films.
Yeah.
And I think it was a huge mistake on DC's part, allowing him to, because like he was planting seeds for movies all the way back in Man of Steel that would not have been seen for like 10, 15 years. Movies are not books.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the Marvel things, the why Marvel works is that at the end of the day, they really are just self-contained movies with a couple of minutes of extra bonus stuff that gets the fans excited, gets the fans talking, and which, you know, keeps interest up, which keeps people going to the comics, going. It's like a self-perpetuating cycle of positivity there. Whereas with DC, it's like DC did it with their that movie. Like, remember Universal for a while tried to do the Dark Universe, a shared universe with all the Universal monsters, which failed horribly.
That failed horribly, yeah.
Because again, they were setting things for movies that people weren't going to see for 5-10 years down the road.
Yeah, and plus, if you're going to go with like the classic monsters like Frankenstein and Dracula and stuff like that, you got to realize there were vastly different authors who wrote these books, and they were not necessarily set in the same universe or world. They were all set on Earth. But in
the 30s and 40s, when the Universal monsters first debuted, there was some intermingling there. So there is a history. It could have worked. It could have worked. It just, when you have basically, like with the Mummy, the Tom Cruise version of the Mummy, that was just basically an action film with horror elements when it should have been a horror film. Imagine that.
There was a Tom Cruise version of the Mummy?
That's why you no longer hear about the Dark Universe. Yeah.
Oh, because when I think of the Mummy, I think of the
Brendan Fraser
movies.
No. There was a remake that Tom Cruise did of that series, which failed horribly. I mean, I think more people would have come back if it was Brendan Fraser coming back in the Mummy.
I would like a Brendan Fraser come back. He is a good-looking guy, and he is a very nice person.
Doom Patrol. He was on the DC show Doom Patrol playing a robot. But he started off as a race car driver, and I guess
Jerry was a race car driver. No.
Well, there's
brain.
Primus Woo. No,
Primus Woo.
Yeah, but I guess with him, I guess in the past, I guess there was issues where somebody sexually harassed Brendan Fraser. Yes. He called them out on it, and then he got blacklisted.
Yeah, and that is a travesty.
When it happens to anybody, male, female, or anybody in between.
It is a travesty, and that is why I think Brendan Fraser deserves a comeback, because every interview I've ever read with him, and from what I've read about him just in general, and when I've watched interviews with him, he just seems like a really nice guy. Mm-hmm. And I like it when really nice guys, and really nice people in general, I like it when nice people get good things, and good things happen to nice people. Yeah. That makes me happy.
But more and more, we see the absolute worst people advancing yet again.
And that is a sorry state of affairs that needs to change.
Yeah.
Which is why I want Brendan Fraser to make a comeback.
Well, like I said, he is Doom Patrol, at least on TV. That's on HBO Max now. It's
all these things that I don't have because I only have so many hours in the day, and most of which I wish to escape from this world.
Yeah.
So I play video games rather than consuming video games and Drag Race, and occasional movies that I watch in like 20-minute increments.
Yeah.
Over the course of a day or a few days.
Oh, one more Marvel movie to speak of, though. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, directed by Sam Raimi.
so excited for this because Benedict Cumberbatch is my boyfriend. You didn't know it, but he doesn't know it either. But yes, Benedict Cumberbatch is my British boyfriend.
There you go.
Many of my, it's been an ongoing joke at work too. I occasionally find pictures of him at my desk.
Well, I know you'd be fighting with a lot of people over that.
I know. But he's another one of those guys who seems like a genuinely nice guy, and I want good things for him. And
yeah.
And he's really cute, and I love British accents. It's like...
Well, in the movie, though, he's got
a good American accent. I know in the movie he's American, but I know he's British at heart, so...
Yeah.
If I want to watch him being British, I can just watch some Sherlock or something.
Yeah, but I am definitely excited for more Marvel movies coming out. I've loved what they did with WandaVision and The Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
I haven't seen The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but WandaVision, I mean, I liked it to the point. I don't know. I mean, I liked a lot of the retro stuff they were doing with it, and I liked the way it was shot, and the way it was, just the way it was photographed was great.
Yeah.
But I thought it was kind of boring, honestly. It didn't really get exciting until like the last couple episodes, and I'm okay with being drawn along and not knowing what's happening and stuff. But honestly, I did not understand why everybody was so apeshit for it, because I was just kind of like, eh.
Well, one, I think the big thing was that this was the first new Marvel thing in over a year at that point.
Yeah, and I understand people are excited about that,
yeah.
But at the same time, I don't know, and I also don't know if it was just like the pandemic blahs just kind of making me go, about everything.
I would say give it a rewatch. I mean, to be clear, I don't think it's the greatest show ever made. I'm not implying that, but
yeah.
I think I know I was a little disappointed at the end, but that disappointment was due to the expectations I had of what to expect, not what they ultimately gave. But they ultimately did set up the future. And I'm excited. Like Monica Rambeau, getting her powers. Like Monica, the last time you saw the Monica character, she was a kid in Captain Marvel, and they even hinted that there could be some anger between her and Captain Marvel there. The fact that it was set in New Jersey, later this year, we're going to have, and I'm really excited for this, the Miss Marvel TV show.
Oh,
and
that should be good.
She's based out of New Jersey, and if you remember that scene where the bubble kind of expanded, that's one way to explain how Kamala got her powers. Because I don't think they're going to go the Inhuman route based on how bad the Inhumans were. The Inhumans TV show was accepted by the audience.
I don't think I saw that show.
You're not the only one.
Okay.
Yeah, they what it was is Ike Perlmutter, who was a friend of Donald Trump, he owned Marvel, and for the longest time, because Marvel had to, when they were in bankruptcy, had to sell off some of the movie rights to their characters. When they did not have the movie rights to the X-Men, Ike Perlmutter wanted to have no promotional material for the X-Men, didn't want to create any new X-Men characters, but wanted the focus instead to be on the Inhumans. And it was a different dynamic. The Inhumans are a different group of people compared to the X-Men, and it just didn't work. The only character that really took off with that focus on the X-Men was Miss Marvel. And even with the Miss Marvel, the first couple of issues were a little janky, just because they were trying to set up this awkward thing of her getting her powers with the Terrigen Mist. But they, even though they do have some Inhumans characters that still pop into that comic, they did kind of, take away the focus from there. But I can't wait until Miss Marvel. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, those comics were really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, Kamala Khan and Miles Morales, for my money, are the best characters Marvel's come out with in the past 25 years, if not more.
I would have to agree with you on that. Yeah, I enjoyed both of those storylines.
Yeah, and I know in the first Spider-Man movie, they did hint that Miles Morales is there, because remember Donald Glover was in that movie, and the first Spider-Man Homecoming. He played like Peter Parker, like tracked him down. He was getting his groceries out of the car, but Spider-Man like webbed him down there and then interviewed him. I guess he was in a previous scene where he was buying some illegal weapons or something like that.
Oh.
And but he talked about his nephew at the time, his nephew Miles. And so we could even see Miles Morales show up in live action too. So as far as Marvel goes, the future is looking bright. They are even putting steps in place to bring in the X-Men, because in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they had one of the locations that they shot that was the setting for the story was Madripoor. Madripoor is important because that's where Wolverine had some of his big early stories. And word is that one thing that Marvel has plans for with the Wolverine characters, they're not going to keep him movie exclusive. They're thinking of having a Disney Plus kind of anthology series with Wolverine, kind of going through his history before he gets to the big screen.
Are they going to use Hugh Jackman for that, or are they going to cast someone else?
They are in talks, and I think because Hugh Jackman did make it pretty clear that more than likely he's not coming back, but being Marvel Studios, he's willing to talk. And from what I understand, is they're trying to sell him on the idea of the multiverse, that the character that he played in the Fox X-Men films is dead, well and truly dead, but he can be a different version.
Yeah.
And
well, any movies with Hugh Jackman, I'm thumbs up.
Well, one thing to keep in mind with him too is that with his age, he doesn't necessarily have to keep that mantle.
Yeah.
He could be that for maybe the show or one movie, and then another version of Wolverine or a younger version or something. They could find a way to kind of do a transition from there.
Yeah, or if they were like talking about like his past history, just like use Hugh Jackman as like voiceovers
or something. But if anything, Marvel and Disney have shown that they're not going to kind of keep the fact that the X-Men were a part of the 20th Century Fox history under the rug. Like in WandaVision, like they had Evan Peters, who played Quicksilver in the Fox movie, show up, even though that turned out to be a fake.
Yeah, that was a little strange.
Well,
at the same time, I was just like, okay. All right, well, cool. I like Evan Peters well enough.
Yeah, it's still. I mean, that was Agatha having her fun.
Yeah.
But Catherine Hahn was amazing.
Yes. Okay. So yeah, Catherine Hahn was definitely the bright spot in that show. She's good and everything.
Yeah. Well, and her own theme song, the Agatha all along time, and it killed Sparky too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so much positive stuff to look forward to, and so much positive stuff to look forward to on the show. I mean, we've already spoke about some of the plans that we're doing here on the show, and I hope this is not the last time we have you on.
Oh, I'm sure it won't be the last time. It won't be the last time.
Okay.
It is what it is. It's like I've had a really rough time this pandemic, and I don't always want to talk.
Yeah.
But you caught me at a good time.
All right.
It's like you fill me full of pizza and some Coca-Cola, and oh boy,
there you
talking.
Go. Yeah, I'm a good date.
You're a cheap date, is what you are.
Well, that too, but anyway, anything else you wanted to talk about?
Wear a mask. Get your vaccine when you can. It's worth it.
And educate
the life you
yourself.
Save may be your own.
Yes, educate yourself. Don't be those people that I watch Fox News because they tell the truth.
They don't tell the truth.
No, news organizations are a business. Remember that. They are trying to keep you coming back. They're going to do whatever they can to manipulate you to keep coming back to them as their trusted news source. Don't trust anybody.
Yep.
But
listen and make up your own mind. But seriously, one of the only things you can trust in this life is science.
Yes.
And the science has shown that the vaccine works, and the masks work. So they're not comfortable. You don't have to wear them all the time. Just when you go out and see people. You go to the store.
Yeah, go to the store. Just like see some of the things that are happening in retail and how those employees are being treated. Like I don't feel comfortable going into a store without the mask just because of that knowledge. That's going to help them. And like at my last stint at Best Buy, I actually had a fucker cough on me. And just for whatever reason, they had their mask off or something, and it was just like. Yeah, that on top of everything else, and just people are gross, people are selfish, people will run over their own mothers if they are inconvenienced in the slightest. Just protect yourself.
But people are also kind, and there are a lot of people out there who are working hard in positions that are not easy right now, and just try to be nice. Just try to be nice to people. Be nice to the person you're talking to on the phone at the cable company, or be nice to the person who's bagging your groceries, or be nice and order all your groceries online so all they have to do is put them in your car.
Yeah, don't do the Instacart until they sort out,
their labor issues.
Yeah, to go, like Fred Meyer has a great one. You just make the order, show up.
Order online. You schedule what time you're going to come. You show up and you check in, and they bring it to you, and they send you on your way. And I've been doing that for the last. I was doing delivery for a while, but then I was hearing all the stuff about Instacart and stuff, and the delivery fees, and then of course I feel terrible and I want to tip, and then the default tip for Instacart is 5%. 5%. Yeah.
Wow.
That's nothing, and and then they choose. Yeah. So if you can do the pickups, and pretty much every major grocery store is offering some kind of pickup service, just do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when you shop online, you don't buy as much junk food, which is good for your health, because this last year, I lost 60 pounds this last year from stress and not eating in restaurants and cooking for myself. So it can make a big difference in your health.
Yes, even though candy is really good.
Yeah, and you gotta have some chocolate. Chocolate, that's what, chocolate and Diet Coke. That's what got me through this pandemic. As I spit everywhere.
No, there was actually some great trail mix that we bought at Target of all places. Really, really good. They had a nice mixture of nuts to raisins to chocolate, kind of interspersed together.
I think I know the one you're talking about. And
it was a Target brand one, yeah.
Yeah, there's a Target brand one, and then there's a Costco brand one, and then there's another brand one. I know the one you're talking about, and I agree. That is good. Gotta have the sweet and the salty.
Damn right.
Okay.
All right, so I think we'll wrap it up here. Thank you all, as the clock hits 4:20.
As the clock, yeah. Guess what Tim's gonna do?
Fired up, man. Hey. Not the first time I've done it on the show. Won't be the last. So, thank you all for listening. Remember to check out our shows every Wednesday and Saturday. We may have other days that will pop up here as well. I know near the end of the month we are going to have the Battle for State Supremacy 3.
Oh.
Yeah, there was controversy with number 2.
Yeah, I hear there was.
Yeah, because the big controversy was that we did a great job promoting the poll.
And then nobody...
people ended up voting on the poll, but when you have over 50 people voting for the poll and you have much less than that to actually listen to the episode, it's like that. And Bowling for Fucking Soup, that's what they voted for. The people in Texas voted that Bowling for Soup is one of the greatest bands in Texas history.
Deep breath. Let's finish the show.
I will get my revenge.
Okay. And I'll be back again sometime to babble at you guys.
All right.
And you can find me on Twitter at Kim The Geek.
Yes. So find us on social media, listen to our show, and just keep on listening. And if you like what you hear, definitely spread the word. So thank you all for listening. We will talk to you all later.
Bye.
Subscribe to Friends Talking Nerdy on iTunes, the Google Play Music Store, as well as Spotify. Remember to support Friends Talking Nerdy on Patreon. Goodbye, darling.